Hi, I'm Zaina, this is Andy, and this is the A to Z of mental health. Okay, so hi, I'm Zaina Khan. I'm the Managing Director and Lead Psychotherapist of Chakra, which is a corporate mental strength training school. Our aim is to destigmatise mental health in highly pressurised working environments, and the way that we do that is through the use of counselling tools and techniques to help people take personal responsibility for their mental health at work. This is the first in a series of interviews with myself and Andy, who will be sharing with us lots of insight into his mental health experiences, with the hope of being able to support people who may also be experiencing mental health difficulties.
I'm Andy, and I'm just some guy who likes talking.
Okay, so that's one of the ways that Andy might describe himself, and in a more professional capacity, lots of people might describe Andy as a chartered accountant who specialises in corporate finance and business intelligence, and who is also a finance director at a number of startups and small businesses across Leeds. So that's with regards to your professional status, Andy. How might you describe yourself in relation to your personal or mental health?
So, I'm just some guy. I've had a load of shit going on the past few years. Suffered from depression. Almost committed suicide in 2017. Pretty much all-round nice guy. Pretty much. Right. That's about it, really. Still all those professional things, but that's not really me as a person or as a personality.
Interesting, because the way what you've mentioned there is that a lot of the time we do define or describe people just in relation to their professional status, and that's all that we see. But there's a lot more that you've mentioned there, which is about you as a person and the more human element of you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we met following the release of your article on LinkedIn, which was entitled Breaking the Stigma, and that was back in September last year in 2018. And the article gave us a little bit of an idea, the title gives us a little bit of an idea of what the article might be about. But can you share with us what it was that prompted you to write the article and what you felt that its purpose was?
Yeah, so as may be aware, in my spare time I enjoy streaming video games on Twitch. And with the release of the new World of Warcraft expansion that was coming out, I wanted to do a charity event on my stream where I would basically play for 24 hours and try and raise money to give to mental health charities. I promoted it. I sent links around to my various friends on social media and stuff like that. But what I realised is I'd never really shared my story or the reason I support mental health charities so much with my professional network. So I thought, you know what, let's just share it. Hopefully raise some money out of it. A lot of the people I know, because the work I do, quite wealthy, might be able to raise a couple £100 or something like that. It'd be really good. So I sat down one Saturday morning and I wrote a 4 or 5 page article and then published it. And thought, none the wiser. I was just like, you know what, let's just get it out there and see if anyone will give to my Just Giving page. And it just kind of went quiet until the Monday. And then, tornado of stuff happened. So whilst I was meant to be getting some sleep to give me a bit of energy through my 24-hour stream, I instead was receiving phone calls and getting messages and everything in response to this article that I just wasn't expecting in the slightest. And yeah, that was it.
So the intention was to support the charity that you were raising money for. That's what kind of prompted you to share your story.
Yeah, exactly.
But the reaction sounds like it was a lot bigger than you anticipated.
Yeah, much bigger. I think it was viewed by thousands and thousands of people. Hits to my website went over 1,000, etc. And it's just kind of spiraled and grown since then. And I'm just I'm now recording this, which is just as crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a much bigger reaction than you expected. And so that's a little bit of an insight into statistically, you saw the numbers growing, you saw how many people were tuning into what it was that you'd shared. What about kind of the more qualitative responses, so feedback, comments, kind of what people might have said in response, but what did that stuff look like?
Yeah, like so when I published it, I wasn't expecting much. I was expecting maybe some people were like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear you suffer from depression. Glad to hear you're doing all right. Like that's kind of the level I was expecting. Having comments, I mean, they're still all there, and they're still all like I collated them, and that was a wow moment. They are. It was saying things like, from someone I've never met, an entirely selfless and an entirely selfless article designed to do nothing more than help other people. Bravo to you. And friends who I haven't spoken to for years telling me that they've suffered similar things but don't have the strength to actually share it openly, and then other people saying things like, you've helped more people than you will ever know by sharing this. And it's like I was just expecting to kind of have a couple of people say, credit for what you're doing, here, have £10 on Just Giving. You know what I mean? That's what I was expecting versus what I received, and it was just like, and I was getting phone calls from people like you saying, come and talk, this is a big deal. And I was like, is it really? Like, it's just telling a story, ain't I?
It's a very personal story, and a lot of things that you mention, I think that lots and lots of people in professional environments are able to identify with, and that's what's really caused it to grow and receive the attention that your story has. So following the release of your article, you have now shared your story publicly, so face to face, in person, at 2 events to date. I know there's some more that we have lined up for the future, which is really great. And both of the occasions were during Chakra's Mental Strength for the Nation tour.
Yeah.
Interestingly, to present your story, Andy, you've chosen memes, which is an unusual and a unique way of talking about mental health because it's such a serious subject.
Yeah.
So what was it that prompted you to use that form of expression?
I mean, memes are part of our culture now. Like, they're pretty damn funny when done correctly. But also, like, trying to describe where my thought process was when I was struggling with depression, when I was at work, when I was considering and contemplating ending my life. Like, these are really tough and very, like, big subjects that it would take an entire, like, PowerPoint presentation to explain just one of those facets. Yet I was trying to tell a story that was so much bigger. So I thought, well, I need something to simplify it, because otherwise how are people gonna like attempt to understand it? And then I was like, but also it's not me to tell doom and gloom stories. Like, I like things being light-hearted and fun, and I've got a really dark sense of humour. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to put it in memes because it's the only way I can possibly get through some pretty big subjects to talk about. And yeah, I think they turned out all right. Like, when we were giving the presentation, there was certainly a lot of chuckling going on in the audience. I think people enjoyed them a lot more than they were willing to let on, but I can understand because they're very close to the bone.
I think the seriousness of, or the appeared seriousness of talking about mental health issues actually stops a lot of people from having those conversations.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's a really lovely way, I think, of just making things seem a little bit lighter and more accessible. People can identify with things. And also with you saying that memes are part of our culture now, a lot more people are going to be able to connect with what you're saying through the use of the memes.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is the people that are struggling most now are the millennial generation, and therefore, like, memes are part of their culture. So these are the people that will appreciate them most.
Yeah.
And obviously they're accessible to everyone else as well. I mean, at the end of the day, they're just a picture with some stupid text on them in a bold white font. But it's more the fact that it will resonate with the people that care about it.
Yes, yeah. So it's a way of getting in touch with a younger audience as well. So you will be sharing lots of detail with us about your mental health journey. But one of the memes that you use is, I appear happy, confident and outgoing, but I have no self-esteem and consider myself a failure. That sounds like quite intense, a really difficult place to be. And as a therapist, I see lots and lots of professionals who will say, when we're, during the hours of 9 to 5, people see this really polished, confident, assertive person, and we look in control, we're able to deal with things, and things seem okay. We would look mentally healthy to our colleagues. Maybe, and I'm just wondering, when you were able to identify that it was a problem, that you kind of had these two sides to yourself, and when it kind of felt like the right time to do something about it.
Yeah, so like harking back, I've never had much self-esteem, never had much confidence in myself, yet everyone has confidence in me. There are other people that promote me a lot more than I do. Like, even when I was a teenager, even my friends liked showing off what I had more than I did and stuff like that. So that kind of carried on into the workplace, and I think it hits home when you actually do something good that you should be proud of, and yet you still feel, maybe I could do better. Like, what was the point in that? And that kept going, and eventually it reaches a stage where I just had no confidence, but because everyone knew me as this kind of happy, outgoing, kind of confident person, like, you keep the facade up because you don't want people prying into your life, or like, suddenly people get really worried when you don't have that face on of being like, yes, I'm good at this, blah blah. You know what I mean? It's just you know you're struggling, and you know you need to do something about it, but you don't want other people to worry because you are working on it, and there's nothing they could do anyway. So you just keep putting the face on and keep getting on with it, and like it just hits home because suddenly you realise that you're actually living two completely separate lives, and the time and energy and like the all that takes, you just end up being tired. And that's kind of, once that hit a stage, I was just like, yeah, you know what, this is just too much. Too much.
Yeah. And it's like, what I'm hearing there is that you almost, in a way, you were fed up with these two different personalities that you felt like you had to have.
Yeah.
And so it was time to bring them together and be more comfortable with those two people being one.
Yeah, I mean, I was fed up of not being comfortable in myself. I was fed up of not being myself at work. And I think there are various things at various big four professional firms where it's like, bring your whole self to work. And how many people actually do that? How many people actually come in and say, you know what, this is me. This is actually me. Not, this is me that I'm willing to share or put a little bit more out there. It's like, you know what, I don't care about this. Almost swore there. Could have been bad. I don't care about this. You know what matters to me? What matters to me is going to church, or like planning out this, or going to gigs and music festivals and stuff like that. How many people actually say, you know what, I'm more passionate about that than I am about client service? Because you don't say that at work. You would never say that. And yeah, I just got fed up with it. So I was just like, well, you know what? I'm going to try living as just me, just one life, not a. I mean, how many people say, this is work me and this is home me, or some derivation of that? Probably everyone out there. And I was just like, no, there's just me. So I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to see what it's like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where all this started.
It sounds very freeing and very liberating to just feel like you can be yourself, and there's nothing that you have to try and mask anymore, which is really, really great. And you start to feel more authentic and more comfortable with yourself as well.
Yeah, one of the things I wrote at the very beginning of Breaking the Stigma was, look, some people may not like what I say. Some people may not want to work with me. Some people may never want to see me again. And that's okay. Like, I understand that is a potential outcome of this, where I tell you that I suffer from depression. I have been suicidal in the past, and that I am continuing to work on bettering myself. Like, I appreciate some people are scared by those topics, and you know what, that's all right. But ultimately, by me sharing this, I am a far more genuine person, a far more honest and open person that will talk freely about anything, really. Like, I just give my opinion on where things are, whether it's business or anything, because ultimately, when you face a place where you might lose your life, you have nothing to lose in anything else either. So be yourself, take everything with you, and it is, as you say, it's liberating.
It makes sense. Hearing you talk like that makes sense, because we are one person when we talk about work-life balance, which I think is becoming an older way of seeing the way that we function as human beings.
Just
because
life
actually
balance.
it's just one. We're one, aren't we? And it's not as easy to detach and switch off from things that are outside of our professional life,
Yeah.
just because we're entering a certain building.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you so much for your insights today. That is the
That's
end of
fine.
episode 1 of our series. And the final part of the episode is where we use some healing crystals. You haven't given them a shuffle. That's not how it works.
Look, I just pulled it out of the thing. I'm not looking at them.
That's not. No, you're not allowed to do that. That's cheating.
That's how it works.
Well, if this is the one that you've chosen, this is the crystal. So these are all different crystals. They are healing crystals, and they have different energies and all represent different things. And so chrysocolla is the crystal that represents vulnerability. A lot of the things that you've mentioned today are around vulnerability. But just before I go into the actual meaning of chrysocolla, why don't you tell us, Andy, what you think vulnerability means to you?
Wow. I would say vulnerability is typically about weakness, but it's allowing yourself to feel pain more than anything, whatever sense that is. But when you know you're vulnerable, you can actually take strength from that. Yeah. Come on then.
Lots of power that comes with vulnerability, I completely agree. And the way that the crystals would define vulnerability with chrysocolla is that chrysocolla travels on the blue ray of communication. So there's lots of blue in this crystal, and it encourages deep and heartfelt expression. It supports honesty in feelings and will support the release of any tension in the throat chakra. Chrysocolla has a strong presence and asks us to express our vulnerability and sensitivity here on this earth. It puts us in touch with profound feminine qualities in ourselves, and when this force is embraced, we live connected to a powerful inner source of creativity and beauty and can express it in the world. Integrating our inner feminine and masculine power will play an increasingly important part in the development of humanity. Ultimately, we are on the way to merging these inner male and female qualities, where we are more complete in ourselves.
I mean, yeah, I got nothing. I just got nothing. I'm done.
Make of that what you will. These are big things that we're talking about here, and we have introduced some lightheartedness just to help them to feel more accessible and a bit more digestible as well. If there's anything that anybody wants to kind of feedback, any comments, your feedback is really, really important to us. Let us know if there's anything else that you want Andy to answer, or anything that, or any insights from me as a therapist. You are welcome to share your comments, any thoughts, or again, anything that's you feel like you've resonated with or identified with. It'd be really great, and we would welcome you to contact us. Do keep in touch, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully in the next episode.
Yeah, so as with all these things, this is kind of us starting a journey, the A to Z of mental health. Andy Zayner, marketing writes itself. So any input is appreciated. You can, all our social links, so everything like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of that nonsense is all in the comments below. Do feel like, I believe these are going live on YouTube. So do feel free to subscribe to the channel, and then if you want to receive information about when our next video goes live, you hit the little bell icon just next to subscribe. Don't ask me, don't know why it works. And yeah, feel free to get in touch with us however it works. But yeah, this has been the A to Z of mental health.
Thank you very much for watching.